Hi, and welcome to Life Talk Burrito with your hosts, me, Michelle Gunn, and Shreyas Kaushik. And Shreyas, you want to introduce our guest and say hi to everyone?
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us live on the Life Talk Burrito. We have a great guest coming in from the West Midlands, Birmingham. We have Sam Dossa with us today to discuss about emotional intelligence, business, and personal coaching. Welcome to the show, Sam.
Thank you very much, Michelle and Shreyas, for inviting me.
Thank you very much. Please go ahead and introduce yourself for our audience.
Sure, thank you. My name is Sam Dossa. I'm based in West Midlands. I'm a business and personal emotional intelligence coach, and I've been doing it for last 13 years. And other area of expertise is relationship, business, and also I would say. Financing side of it of the businesses as well.
Well, that seems to be a lot of interesting topics. And I know for sure you love talking about emotional intelligence, and we will be focusing on that very soon. So, before we proceed, the first and foremost question that actually puts you in the hot seat is to understand what was your biggest challenge in the past year or anything that is related to what you do for work.
Well, I talk about, as I'm also a podcaster, forget to mention that to you. As I talk about COVID-19 has been a blessing or curse. So a lot of people talk about as being a unsettled situation for a lot of people. The challenges, I would say, I change the challenges to adventures. As in my metaphor, there is no challenges. There are a lot of adventures you go through. Been through my own adventures. That's the word I use for everything happens in my life. The adventures has happened. COVID-19 is another exceptional adventure, I would say, because we were planning, me and my wife were planning to get married, and suddenly what happened is we got married on the 21st of March last year, before everything locked down in the UK. That definitely saves a lot of money because we have to invite a lot of people for our wedding. But it was one of those blessings we started with. Um, Two segments, because if I said to you that was it a opportunity, yeah, there was a lot of blessings in terms of how I see as a time for reflection. Yeah, people, I was on sort of a lot of ups and downs with my business. I was going through with the journey, and I has been in this sort of mindset where what is next, how long we are going to be remain in this sort of a scenario. And during that time, actually, my wife started a charity as well. You can imagine starting something new within that sort of a pandemic is a big ask. But touch wood, her charity explored in the next level where she started to get funding, started to coming in, and she's exploring a lot of opportunities in her own charity. And that was another blessing for COVID-19 for us. And there were a lot of discussion happens during my podcast and during my decided journey of understanding how can I see this as a reflection time. A lot of people has gone on furlough. They were getting this 80% of their salary coming in. Were they thinking of whether to continue the same job or same rut, which is 9 to 5 to work, the same thing back in the weekend, doing the same thing, or they have started exploring what is they are good at, what are their, what is their purpose? Is it because we are conditioned? Now let me set a stage with a statement over here. So we are born to win, but conditioned to fail. Now this statement, if you look at it broadly, we are all winners. As I'm talking to you all, we are all winners because we are sitting in front of each other, correct? Because we were the one who were conceived and we are here. So we are the winner, whether it's a lottery, whether it's good luck or something like that, but we are the winner. We are here, we're sitting here. But conditioning happened till the time of when you are age 7. And a lot of things are talking about do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that sort of things. And we started to get all those sort of things. And that's where the journey started to understand ourselves, where we've been conditioned so much in our journey. How we're going to come out from that conditioning, how we have started to learn to uncondition ourselves. So this year has been, a lot of people should have done it to uncondition them, to understand what actually their worth is. Are they going to be continuing the journey of paycheck to paycheck, or they are going to be realistic, looking at what exactly makes them happy inside here? Yeah, you should have to have a shelter, a Maslow hierarchy, which means you should have to have a shelter, you have to have a food, you have to have all other necessities being met. Then you started to help others, which is important. And that's the journey I had, that COVID-19 has been a blessing for me.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, congratulations on pulling a successful marriage ceremony in the midst of the pandemic. And I'm sure it is going good for you so
Thank you.
far. And me and Michelle were actually having a conversation about finding others who might really alter the word weakness and bring in a separate perspective, because we don't call it strengths and weakness, we call it strengths and challenges. And now we have you who call it as an adventure. So that really stands out really well for both of us, because we were trying to find alternatives to actually coming out of that negative mindset and shifting our perspective to see this situation in a positive sense. And I think calling it an adventure really adds in that excitement. It brings in probably joy once you have accomplished or finished that adventure, and you start looking forward to more adventures and now take a step back. So that was a great start to our episode. And I must say, Michelle, I think you have braved all weather, and we are back here after a break of 1 week. So just give us a little perspective of about how you're doing, how is the situation, and what do you think about what Sam just told about seeing this as an adventure?
Well, I think every day is an adventure, no matter what is going on. But yes, in case people haven't heard, not where I'm from, where I'm living currently, in Texas, we had quite the winter storm, and actually, I think it hit 40 of the 50 states. And at least the area in Texas where we live, they're not cut out for cold weather. They have a hard time dealing with just rain. So when you knock out the power and give cold weather, it's a disaster. Actually, our area has been deemed a natural disaster area. We are blessed, and everything's whole, back to normal, trying to catch up from a week of lost internet, no cell service, what they call the first world problems, right? We still were able to eat and sleep and had shelter. We were a little cold, but we lived. So that was an experience. I think listening to Sam talk, I think there's a lot of things that we feel the same way about. We see similarly. We need to know our individual value before we can really be of benefit to other people. And we are conditioned by our parents, by teachers, by the environment that we should be this way. We should even do math this way, which changes, every year, every couple years. We should talk a certain way. We should dress a certain way. There's certain careers we should all do. We should go to college and whatnot. But we don't look at what is our inner strengths. So when we have a better idea of what our inner strengths are, then we can function at a higher level using those strengths to do things well and to overcome our challenges, or to make the journey easier and make the adventure a little bit more fun, right? It's it's going to be a challenge anyway. But and knowing that, we're now coming up with ways to help our children see their strengths and have parents recognize strengths within their children and help them function in ways that they already do well. So I agree.
Indeed, indeed. Quite spot on, actually. And I think emotional intelligence should be raised from the childhood because as a man, we are fixers. That's the truth, the whole truth. We want to fix everything. And how many men you have seen who are emotionally intelligent? Um, I'm not saying that all the women are emotionally intelligent. There are, well, if you look at the ratio of 100 men and 100 women, then you will looking at 80% of women must be emotionally intelligent, and comparing to men, you are looking at 20% emotionally intelligent. So there is a big change, a big shift between two people. A simple example is the communication with two people. A woman would like to speak to her husband or a partner about something. It's just a conversation that she came from work, he came from work, both are sitting together. She's talking about her day and she's trying to create a conversation with the person, with her husband or partner. But the partner is there just trying to solve the problem for her. Does she need solving the problem, or she just needs somebody to listen to her? She just needs somebody to listen to her, but he's trying to solve the problem for her. And that's where the communication started to break down. A man just to listen to his wife or his partner, then everything is going to be live in that sort of a vibration where both of them going to be having a great life going forward. If I'm going to be fixing your problem, you says, I knew the answer. I was not looking for a fixing. I'm just wanting you to listen. If I wanted to fix it, I would have fixed it. I already fixed it, actually. I just wanted to share with you. And that's where this emotional intelligence comes in. And men, especially with us, we want to fix everything. And that's where we find it so many problems within ourselves. Why men suffer a lot of trauma? Why men suffer a lot of problems with their emotions? Because we suppress everything in our body. Because we live in the society which is man-dominated society. If I'm becoming an emotionally intelligent person and I started showing empathy or sympathy with people, people look at me and say, "What's going on? You're not a man. Why are you behaving like a woman?" So that's the facade we wear on our face to show a lot of things which is actually not been given, is been conditioned, as we come back to that same statement.
Yeah, there are two comments I'd like to make about that. And one is that there's a definite difference between knowing and understanding what people are feeling and reacting on that understanding. Two different things. I have my kids know that they're fair game. I use them as examples. My husband too. That's just life in our house. So my youngest daughter, we did Clifton Strengths. I had them all do Clifton Strengths. And she has empathy in her top 5 talents. So it's a strength for her. Now, knowing my daughter, that did not make sense to me. This young lady, she's now 23, she doesn't, even as a teenager, she didn't want the hugging, what a lot of kids, and I know teenagers, they get older and want less, but she's never been that lovey. She's never been that caring. And so, I asked her, I don't understand this. How can you be high in empathy? Because we're out teaching the world, you need to be empathetic. You need to show people you care. You need to show people you listen. So a lot of times I have issues when people use the word empathetic because I understand the other side. She said, Mom, just because I know how people feel doesn't mean I care. And I'm like, whoa, yeah. So, help me understand her a little bit better. But because people know how you feel doesn't mean they show. So they may be emotionally intelligent and not know how to react or don't care to react. And then, see, I'm talking so much. Am I going to remember my other point? I think I forgot my other point. Oh, I know what it is. Listening. As you were talking and talking about listening and fixing, and I think a lot of times it's not even just men, although I get what you're saying about men. People are so worried about formulating their answer to whatever somebody's telling them that they're not truly listening and connecting. And women do. They communicate for the connection.
Yes.
So, and there are men who do too, but they're afraid to show it because
Yes.
of
Because
conditioning.
yeah, that's the conditioning, and then again we are looking at the listening in the present moment. I
Mm-hmm.
can be listening to you. Sometimes my wife caught me and says, "You're not listening, aren't you? There is a penalty for you now, so you're not listening." So, so this is very important when two people are communicating and listening in the present moment. If I'm not present in the moment, man goes into the cave. A lot of theories are there, a lot of things are there. We know, I know, I've been through my journey as well, my adventures as well, and I learned hard way. Yeah, and if I'm a coach, if I'm not, if I become a coach who actually helping a lot of people, I must have that quality in listening. Otherwise, my coachee will be saying, Sam doesn't listen, doesn't understand what I'm trying to achieve. Correct? If I'm going to be interrupting and says, no, 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 you should be doing this way. No, 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 you should be doing that way. It doesn't make any difference. That's why a coach is the person who guide the coachee to achieve the result that he or she is looking for. He's a guiding principle there. He is not the person who you're going to be saying that I'm going to put all my weight on you to give me answers to all of those things which I'm going to. So that's where I am, where I go for.
Yeah, I think this is one more thing that we both readily agree, which is we as
Mm-hmm.
coaches do not advise our clients. We don't suggest them anything. We help them find that awareness for all the answers that they have within themselves, but they don't know how to access it. So that is what we as coaches really do. And I think this, what you just said, segues very neatly into my next question, which is to ask, what is your biggest lesson that you learned from researching about emotional intelligence or studying about it?
Well, the biggest thing which I learned about emotional intelligence is to a lot of people in the industry is talking about controlling your emotions, which is not the truth. Is about managing your emotions. We all manage emotions. We do not control them. And the five pillars are important to understand by people that there's five pillar of emotional intelligence, which is self-awareness, which is the topic that the first your pillar of emotional intelligence. Second is self-management or self-regulation. Third one is your motivation. Fourth one is empathy. Fifth one is social skills. So these five area connects to each other in all the string. For you look at self-awareness, understanding your emotions yourself first, knowing that your body is telling you something. Or I had a coaching session this morning, and my client said to me, "You know, Sam, I woke up this morning. I was feeling unsettled." Like, he's aware of his emotions. So he says, I went into my music room. I put some beats. I sat for a long meditation, calm myself down, bring back to my normality, and I here to do my session with you. If I was not understanding my own emotions, I would have been completely out of somewhere. I would be somewhere else. I would not be present in this moment. And that's the beauty of becoming self-aware, understanding who you are, why you are here, what is your purpose. A lot of people says, one of my coaches there told me that, oh, I know my purpose. I say, okay, what's your purpose? He says, my purpose is to help millions of people. I said, that's beautiful purpose. So I said, so how are you going about doing it? So I'm doing this, I'm doing that. While I'm doing through the coaching, I says, do you know that that's an amazing purpose? The first person who needs help is yourself. You're not helping yourself. You're trying to help others. but you are going through with your own journey, which is not in the present moment, and you are trying to help other people. He had this light bulb moment, and he says, well, you are right, Sam. I have so many things which I am not actually addressing them at this moment. And he says, I haven't celebrated my birthday for last 49 years. Nobody celebrated my birthday. I did not celebrate my achievement. He has three honors degrees under his belt. He is a pilot, correct? And he hasn't celebrated his journey. And so, what's stopping you? And he does not have the answer for it. So, understanding and learning, the biggest thing was that to understand myself. And that's where I started to have the journey. I can't teach you until I know who I am, first of all, understanding my own shortcomings. I can't become a coach or an expert in the things which I'll say, well, I've read about several books, I've done several coaching diplomas and everything, and I'm an expert now. It doesn't work like that. You have to go through with that adventures in your life to understand how you are going to talk to people. I'm a proud father of 3 girls, and I got 2 stepdaughters. So I have 5. I'm surrounded of women. You can imagine the emotions they are going through. Uns, their emotions, their chemical balance up and down. To maintain that, it's again, as a man, we have also a lot of chemicals in our body, but we are not that much changing it the way woman changes in their body. So learning emotional intelligence was very important for me, and that was the biggest lesson I learned, and that's what I became an advocate to express and talk to people about this. It's about just listening. Sometimes just listening to somebody will save them from doing something bad for their life, and that's where you should open and hear or listen in the moment of present.
I absolutely agree on the 5 pillars you just mentioned, and it is very important for us as coaches to have experienced something before we actually go and talk about it, because we can never be experts. When you say you're an expert, you're automatically shutting yourself from learning new things or upskilling, because as coaches, probably there are 100 or so domains that you can really coach on, and it isn't possible that we can achieve that expertise in each and everything. We do call ourselves expert generalists. That is because we can cater to any issue surrounding a client, but it doesn't mean that we are an absolute authority, which just complements what you said earlier about not giving advices. And if at all, there are, I think, 2 more pillars that we can certainly consider when it comes to emotional intelligence, which is your environmental factor, because I think
Mm-hmm.
it's just too congested, it's too messy, especially given the pandemic situation. There is a lot of confusion, and that is having a significant impact on many people, as we know. And the second would be your spiritual factor, whether you're really aligned with your goals, are you aligned with the values, because pandemic has put that pressure on us of maintaining our jobs. So I don't know, some of us are very much forced to continue doing the job we don't like because we are afraid of losing that financial security. So I think these two really very much play a part in how a person can behave emotionally.
Yeah, but that's absolutely right. But one has to understand you have that cushion. You have that cushion of having a job, which is perfectly fine. If you are happy to work for somebody, that's perfectly fine. There is nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But again, you have that capacity in yourself, innate in yourself, that you can explore the opportunity to bring another income. Yeah, this is an opportunity being given to you. Okay, you are working from home, you are giving that opportunity. Yeah, we are being told that, oh, you're working from home, make sure that you spend a lot of time in doing this. People are being constantly bombarded with a lot of things. Yeah, They did not have space. Now, I've seen a lot of parents, I've worked with so many clients where saying, we have to manage time, which is perfectly fine. That's why a company has to offer the flexibility of you says,
Mm-hmm.
so the parent says, oh, my daughter wakes up in the morning, so I will wake up at 6 o'clock, and 8 o'clock she wakes up, then I will take over. My husband wakes up at 8 o'clock, then he will continue to work till 12 o'clock, then he will take over the child. So there is a management of two people working together. And yeah, I understand there are a lot of unsettled things happen with this scenario as well. When you're working from office, it was a completely different scenario. Now you're working from home is a completely different scenario, because office work was, oh yeah, I'm even having a conversation with this person, that person, that person, that person. Now at home, you're having a conversation with your partner and your children, which is not always aligned with you, because you are finding it frustrating. Yeah, first lockdown was very good, very harmonizing. We are knowing each other, XYZ thing. Second lockdown, really same routine, and that's where emotional intelligence comes in for a lot of people. Yeah, we started learning and to understand pressure is there. Everybody got a pressure. How you utilize that pressure in a positive way, that's the skill you bring in from emotional intelligence.
You just beautifully explained why people should hire a coach and the benefits that coaching can bring in, because awareness is what we all readily agree upon. It's
Mm-hmm.
awareness about yourself, your situation, and those around you, because in the end, you'd want a win win perspective, which certainly coaching can provide. Sam, now I just want to request you to get off the hot seat and wear your coaching cap, because we have a question from Solomon.
Yes,
He wants to understand how to manage his emotions, especially related to anger.
anger. Thank you, Solomon, for your question. Anger is is an emotion. The best way to get rid of it, I would say, instantly uh, take some fresh air. Go and get some fresh air. Usually, what happens is we get there are triggers. What now? You need to reach to that trigger, where that trigger is coming from, or if somebody says to you something, or is something which you are been pondering upon in your mind. You are playing forward something. So I would say to observe where this anger is coming from. How you're going to acknowledge it. Now, is an emotion of acknowledging it or letting it go. But how you're going to manage it is entirely your choice. There are two things going to happen: whether you're going to break the wall by punching it, or whether you will go outside and have some fresh air. Because the more fresh air you're going to take inside, the oxygen will go into your mind and your blood will go into your mind and refresh everything for you. So it's better to take a break of 5 minutes and help you to recompose yourself and bring it back to your normality in time.
Does that help, Solomon? Um, let's see.
Yeah, please
Hopefully.
let us know in the chat. And there's a question for you as well, Michelle. Solomon
Mm-hmm.
wants you to address about how to build himself up and just see if he's aligned with his purpose of authoring books.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. A lot of people need help building themselves up because, as Sam mentioned earlier, we talked about how we're conditioned to believe certain things about ourselves, whether or not they're true, and are molded by family, society, and schools and jobs into how they see us instead of how we are. There are many avenues you can use to build yourself up. You can, read professional or personal development books. You can go on YouTube. There's videos you can watch, or like we've discussed earlier, you can hire a coach. A coach is a great asset and a great partner to help you with self-esteem. Now, saying that, there are different avenues you can take. I really believe in and rely on Clifton's strengths, the assessment, to really help people understand who they are, how they work, and how to utilize their innate talents to be the best in themselves. And there's different processes to do that. I'll let Shreyas talk a little bit about what he uses, and then we'll have Sam talk about what he uses. What I do encourage is that you research different coaches to find one that you have a good fit with. Many coaches offer a either free introductory short session to get to know each other, or sometimes they charge a nominal fee. But having the right fit in a coach is what will help you get the results that you want. So again, for me, it's Clifton's strengths and the process of coaching. And Shreyas, go ahead and let them know how you would handle that.
First of all, I agree with what you just said about finding the right fit, because just like how you'd want your shoes to fit right, the same applies to any coaching relationship, because you'd want to make progress and not take a step back. The way I work with is to use my awareness from what Clifton Strengths told me about, and Michelle was one who debriefed me, to his connectedness. So I really feel I connect very well with my clients, so which gives me a good opportunity to work around energy. That is where my coaching comes from. So I coach the energy around an issue rather than the issue directly. And I use energy leadership index assessment to gauge the energy levels that is seen in a particular individual, which gives a basic idea of how the person might be showing up at that current moment. So using those understanding, I would definitely use the process of coaching through asking empowering questions which are open-ended, which will promote thinking and also in some way instigate the person to just reach within, dig deep, find the answers within themselves and start expressing that. And after careful validation and acknowledgement, I kind of bring that awareness to the forefront if it is hidden deep within, either in the subconscious, and start helping the client to work on, pardon me, to work on those awareness that they have, and just keep them accountable in a simple manner, so that they can take step forward without any outside pressure, like Sam beautifully described a little while earlier. So there will be pressure, definitely. Life happens for each one of us, but it is all about having that awareness, having that right intention, and setting the goals so that you take small action steps. And in due course, you'll finally achieve the result you want. So, my quote that I always tell my clients is that you have the total power to attract the outcomes you desire. You just have to set the right intentions and just work upon that. So, that is how I work. Sam, over to you.
Beautiful, beautiful. I think coaching is a journey, and you have to be ready to be coachable. You need to be understand that coaching is to take to the next your next ladder, wherever you want to achieve, whether in your career, whether in your life, or whether in your business. You have to be ready for it. I can't coach people who are not coachable, who thinks they know everything. Because if you are not coachable, how are you going to exceed your achievement in yourself? And the best way I find my client is to give them a task. Whether they complete the task, so that means you can coach them. If they don't complete the task, it means they are not ready to be accelerating their journey. And some are only looking at, I want to go from A to Z in about 3 months' time. And looking at yourself, or looking at the person, you can be honest with them. Possibilities are not that there is no possibilities, but then again, you need to look at how that is going to be executed. And if you're going to say to somebody that you want to go to from A to Z, which is the 26 alphabets, every alphabet have a plan. How are you going to execute the plan A and plan B and plan 2, plan Z? So these are needs to be taken care of, and it requires a journey. As I said, it's a journey. Whether you are on the journey or you are off the journey is entirely your choice. I'm not here going to say to you, well, give me your money and I'm going to take you on the journey. I'll say, no, no, no. It doesn't work like that. It's both ways, actually. As we coaches look for the coaches to be right fit for us, coachee has the same respect to say that you are right fit for me or for her. Exactly the same thing. They have the full power on that, choosing who is the right person for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree on what you just said about the client being coachable, because we do need them to come with certain degree of open-mindedness so that they're able to receive what we are telling and also have that ability to actually invest. It's an investment. It's not the fees they're paying. It's an investment in their own betterment, which will definitely bring in results. And that time frame is again dependent on how the client chooses to work and what pays, because all of us are unique. We have our own ways of bringing ourselves to the situation, bringing ourselves to the coaching session, and we do take time to understand what is being said. So there is no relative measure of how quick a person can take that step forward. It all is dependent on a lot of situations. There are various conditions that need to be met. And thank you for sharing about that and bringing it into this discussion. So now again back to the hot seat and asking more about your experience with emotional intelligence. What would be the one thing that you would want to change going forward? It might be related to your coaching, or it might be for your experience as an emotional intelligence coach. So, what would that one change be?
I would say be open to learning, because the more you're open to this learning and receiving, and be coachable, because you need to have a coach yourself as well. You can't just say I'm a coach and I don't need a coach. It doesn't work like that. I have two different type of coaches. I have a coach who works with me on the financial side of it, and I have a coach who works from a completely different angle of the coaching as well. So you have to have a coach to explore the possibility in yourself to, and be open to learning more new things, new skills, and that's what I say. Be open to learning.
Anything you'd like to add, Michelle?
No, I always have an opinion about everything. So if you know me, you know I like to talk. But I mean, I agree with everything. We definitely need to be open to learning. But what really, I guess, troubles me a lot that I hear quite often is that people say blanketed statements. Okay. You need to learn or you won't grow. You need to, just all these, it's more conditioning, right? I don't disagree that we need to learn, but I think we need to think of new ways to say things because we all learn differently, right? I love webinars. I love soaking in information. Um, yeah, probably webinars are my favorite because I like to take notes. I just like information. I just like to have it. Other people, no way. They're doers. They're hands-on learners. So when we talk about learning, we have to look at the different ways people learn because learning for you is not going to be the same as learning for me, and probably not the same for Shreyas, right? And there's different things we need to learn. So when we make a general statement, you need to learn to grow. Yes, it's true, but let's make people feel better about it, right? Because a lot of things we say that we think are positive oftentimes are received negatively. And about coaching, absolutely. If you think you're going to hire a coach and they're going to make you better and solve all your problems while you just sit there and write them a check or pay by credit card or whatever, it doesn't work that way, right? Anything that is good has to be earned in some aspect. Sam had talked about doing activities or homework. I think most coaches have something like that. I know I do. If I work with somebody, there's going to be exercises because you have to get to know yourself. You have to think about what you want. And probably what would surprise a lot of people who haven't been coached, you may think you have a goal and you know what you want, but once you start the coaching process, your goal will probably change, right?
Yes, yes.
Absolutely.
It's a process. It's a process, and one thing I would like to add over here is that we are all on the journey of learning new skills, and sometimes we are unlearning a lot of things as well as we are conditioned to a lot of things. So yeah, learning is always a buzzword. Oh, you should be learning this, you should be learning that, and people are talking about, oh, why don't you become a SEO specialist, or why don't you become a this specialist or that specialist? There is a free training over there. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. You can collect all the training.
Mm-hmm.
You become you are not going to be a self development. It becomes a shelf development, or I mean, nowadays we are using a word is a Zoom development, because you're collecting a lot of Zoom calls, a lot of webinars you're attending, or you're saying, oh, I'm going to register myself. I will listen to the recording. How many recording you want to listen? Do you have time to listen to all those recordings? You have to be in that moment of learning that skill. If you're not in that moment of learning the skill, forget about it. I've done it myself. I've been there, done it. Yeah. I was like the same thing, hoarding so many courses, so many courses. Oh, yeah, I can do
Mm-hmm.
this course. That interests me. That interests me. That interests me. Did I complete one of them? None. Then I start learning that let's start one, finish, then start another, let's finish, then I start another and finish. That gives you a reward. That's why a lot of people forget about it. That will give you a reward of completing something. If you complete an entire project and you receive some sort of a reward saying, wow, you got a really good, you did it actually, you completed the course, you got a certificate of completion, and you feel, yeah, I done it. Let me start another one. So that gives you another anchor to start on. So a lot of people, what they do is they'll start halfway through, they'll start another one halfway through, they'll start another. So they are not capturing all the information. They have half information. And if you are going to be speaking to somebody and there's somebody talking to you, you say something and this is, well, yeah, you are partially right, but that's not the whole answer. And who is going to feel embarrassed about it? You, because people have caught you.
Right. So, from what I sense, or what I understand from you both answering that question, is it isn't just sufficient if you come up with action steps, if you come up with goals in the coaching session, unless you work and put in your efforts to complete those action steps before our next coaching session, which might be a week apart, 10 days apart, 15 days apart. So it is okay to take as much time as you need, but ensure you come prepared for the next coaching session. And at least if you can't get through all the pointers, make sure you have one or two accomplishments to share, so that as coaches, we also get that feedback and understand what is the direction you want to go. And more or less, we can then tune in or tune down the level of coaching or the level of expertise or the amount of questions we ask, we can certainly match it for the person's level of understanding and the level of pace they find comfortable with. So it isn't that you're paying for a session basis and you want to get through A to Z in a record period of time. It just doesn't work out well for both the coach as well as the client. And in the end, we just get frustrated and angry that the relationship is not working out. So, great pointers over there. Um, Sam, before we let you go off the hot seat, one final question. If I were to ask you what is Sam Dossa's legacy, how would you describe it?
My legacy. I want to share my knowledge to as many people It's not about me. Is nothing. Sam Dossa is nothing. I'm just one another soul in this infinity. If I can, with my purpose, which is to help as many people around the globe, I will be very happy. And if I will fulfill the purpose of being said by myself, I will be very happy. It's not about my name. I don't want people to remember with my name. People remember by the action.
Mhm.
Actions. It's not about the name. Name can be removed from the surface of the earth, but the action will always remember, and that's what I would like to have, for the actions to remember that that was the thing which this gentleman has done, and we are continuing using the same actions, because talk is cheap. We can all talk. It's about talk the talk and walk the walk. That emphasizes you that that's the best coach. You have seen in your life, and I've seen in mine. People are there, a lot of talker, smooth talker. Does their talk mirror the actions? No. So my legacy would be, people look at my actions, not my name. Thank you.
That sounds very powerful indeed. So, Michelle, any other questions to ask our guest?
Yes, one important question is if somebody was wanting to find out more about you or work with you, Sam, how do they find you?
The best place to find me is LinkedIn. I'm readily available over there, and most of my clients actually approach me on LinkedIn. So just come to my handle is Coach Sam UK for all the social media. So if you just type Coach Sam UK, only myself will come up. So join me on all the social media handles as well, and on LinkedIn as well. That would be ideal. Thank you.
Awesome. So, Sam, the biggest advantage of being a guest on Life Talk Burrito is that you get to take revenge on us as well by putting us on the hot seat. So, I'm just
Sure,
kidding. So, is there any questions that you'd like to ask us before we close it for the day?
sure. Why not? So my question to Michelle first. Michelle, you have been on our radar. I will say core mentoring radar. Tell me one thing which I don't know about you, because there are a lot of things has been discussed, but there's one thing which might not everybody knows in the in the circuit. What is one thing which I should know? Then when I have a conversation with other directors, I'll say, you know what, you don't know that. I know
Okay. So you want a usable fact,
that.
not a
Absolutely.
random fact.
No.
Okay. That makes it harder. Yeah, Shreyas is laughing because Shreyas knows. He knows all the answers. Um,
So, then I'll just jump in and say something that I don't know as well.
yeah, I don't know if I can do that because I just tell everything. I think that probably, I hope people know it because I hope it shows um, that I believe everything I say. And I believe that every person has value. They just need to find that value. That's the biggest thing that I want to get out. I hope everybody already knows that. Um, I I think on anything that's important, I try to say it in everything I do. So, wow, one thing
Yeah,
you wouldn't know, I don't know, but in case you don't, that's what it is.
amazing, amazing. Yeah, that's important. That thing. This shows that the authenticity. That shows that the integrity of a person being honest in front of everybody, and that's where this thing distinguishes you in front of a lot of people, because
Hmm.
we all gone through. For careers, what I would like to ask you was, when did you started your journey of being a coach?
I started my coaching journey as a coach with Michelle last April. That is when I jumped on LinkedIn. I don't know how Michelle popped in I think it was a post, and then I just connected, and we had a good coaching relationship for about a couple of months. And then Michelle was the one who introduced me to coaching. We did a course together with Meridian. The assessment is called Insight,
Mm-hmm.
which set me on the path of coaching. And then a month later, I launched my coaching business, Get It Rise Coaching and Consulting.
Mm-hmm.
And I always love to learn more, so I enrolled with IPEC, Institute of Professional Excellence in Coaching,
Mm-hmm.
and I just graduated from their course, which it was about 7 months long. So they did 3 modules. It was all about energy, life potentials, and using some great skills like acknowledgement and validation in coaching. So
Mm-hmm.
I've finally achieved my Energy Leadership Index Master Practitioner a couple of weeks ago. So it's all new, but
Congratulations.
my coaching journey started last July.
Excellent. And what were you doing before?
Oh, it might not sound surprising, but I graduated in December of 2019 from my master's degree in automotive engineering from the UK. And I was all set to travel to Germany. I was there for a week, after which the pandemic stuck, and I just had to move back without a valid employment, which is when I think I started looking around for opportunities where I did not waste time because I was told the job offer was still on the table, but it would take some time until the
Mm-hmm.
pandemic was probably going to settle down a bit. And it has been 1 year, and now finally I've got my visa and will be traveling back in a month from now.
Okay.
So that gave me some ideas to think about. And one of my passions was educational consulting.
Mm-hmm.
So I was doing it for my friends and their referrals to help them select the right universities so that they could save on the application charges,
Yes.
which the exchange doesn't work for any of the Asian countries when you consider paying in pounds or dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So that just gave me an idea as to not why not try coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And I just found Michelle and wanted to give being coached a try before I could shift over to being a coach. And that went very well. And the insights that I got through Clifton Strengths, I'm continuously using that. And I think that is one of the key reasons why we collaborated as well, because we have some common strengths and also some which are very much complementing each
Mhm.
other's weakness. So it doesn't really show up. It seems that the process is going smooth because Michelle handles some part of it and I get to handle some part of it. And when we both don't know, we don't hesitate to just ping each other up and say, we don't know about this. Let us just find an expert or let us reach out to our connections, get their help, and then move on. So this is our second collaboration so far. We also have a podcast, and I'm hopeful you would reconsider scheduling with us back again. And it was a natural disaster that put the schedule off for both of
Uh,
us.
everything
We
happens
look
for
forward to it.
absolute forward to it as well. Everything happens for a reason, and we just have to acknowledge it. If you don't acknowledge it, it will become more harder to accept. And whatever happens, I had a situation where a lot of time my guest did arrive, and the connection was so bad that I have to disconnect. I said, sorry, we can't record because mom
Yeah.
is not doing very well, and I don't want to send a message to my audience that there was a inconsistency. And my guests understand. We all understand. Everybody has a priority. Sometimes somebody canceled about an hour ago, and you say, okay, that's fine, no problem. We acknowledge it because we are all humans.
Mhm.
Yeah. If I will become non-human, then nobody is going to be interact with me.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Sam, it was a pleasure interviewing you and understanding more about emotional intelligence. And I'm sure we will be coming out with more tips on a podcast as well. So stay tuned for Sam's episode, which will go live very soon. And Sam, once again, thank you. It's been an international collaboration. You being in the UK, Michelle in the US, and I'm in India. So the times are drastically different. We are about 10 and a half, 11 and a half hours apart from US, and you're 5.5 hours apart from me. So it all worked out. And thank you for making it work, and looking forward to keep engaging with you on LinkedIn.
Absolutely. Pleasure is all mine. And thank you very much once again for inviting me to be on Life Talk Burritos. I really enjoy burritos, but we should have burritos for our lunch. For you as a dinner, for her as a lunch, for me as a dinner.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you
I
guys
think
come
we can make that work.
when you guys come to my podcast, which is called Chai with Sam Dossa, then you have to have a chai in your hand. So there will be an ideal situation.
That's lovely.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Michelle?
you, Sam. Yeah, thank you, Sam. It's been a pleasure, and I know we'll see you around, especially on LinkedIn. And one last comment I want to make, because Shreyas did announce he will be traveling to his job. He is still going to be available for coaching with Get Set Rise, coaching and consulting. So
Absolutely.
don't forget about him. He's still going to be around. But any of us are available. And also, there's a lot of other great coaches out there. Make sure you have a great fit. And we will see you guys next week.
Thank you, and take care. Signing off.
Bye.
Bye.